Are you Dolph Springer?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm the detective in charge of finding your dog.
Paul.
Why?
Back in 2010, first-time filmmaker Quentin Dupieux came to the festival with Rubber, a movie about a killer tire. It was a somewhat unsatisfying movie for some, but this year he's come back with a new movie called Wrong. It's still a incredibly strange film, but seems to have refined him as a director. Ethan, what did you think?
I enjoyed Wrong. I'd actually seen Rubber just recently, and I thought it had its moments. Like, I think Dupieux has a very controlled aesthetic, which I admire. He's certainly formal control. But I do think that the thing people make a big deal about with that movie is the meta element.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that isn't really fully explored in that film. I think it's almost more of just
Agreed.
a surface idea.
Yeah, it's just sort of there.
And I think people make too much of a big deal of it, and the movie as a result was a little dull, I found.
Yeah.
But this, I thought, was just, it's just 100% absurdity, really.
Oh yeah, like stuff happens in this movie with no rhyme or reason whatsoever. The basic plot is that the main character wakes up one morning to find his dog is missing, and later learns that it was kidnapped by an agency that kidnaps people's pets and then returns them to prevent abuse. And during this operation, his dog escaped. So basically, it's him going through this whole crisis with his lost dog. That's a really simplified version of the plot because there's all this stuff happening around that, which largely makes no sense in any way.
Yeah, it's really a series of non sequiturs. And again, like Rubber, I do think it does have some kind of spots where the humor is dry and the film is almost more dry as a result at times. Like, it's just a little dull, but I think for the most part, it has, I think, a consistent enough amount of laughter.
Yeah, like
and,
they're sorry.
And I have to mention William Fichtner, the character
Yeah.
actor. I'm sure a lot of people recognize him in this movie. I don't think it was a very kind of straight and narrow, like often playing like military guys or cops.
Yeah.
And he is completely balls out ridiculous in this.
Yeah, he's the guy who runs this organization. He's this dude in like an immaculate suit. He's scarred on one face, and his accent is almost like it's some weird hybrid, I think, of like Norwegian, maritime, and native,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
He's indescribable. And yeah, whenever he's on screen, the theater was in droves
Yeah,
laughing. It
yeah.
was hilarious.
Yeah, and again, Dupieux, very controlled aesthetic. I really do like his look, the look of his films too.
Well, his camera work is almost kind of minimalist. He isn't one for big fancy camera
Yeah.
moves or weird angles unless he's going for something really specific.
Yeah.
It's very simple, straightforward stuff.
And deadpan.
Yes, very, very deadpan. And I do agree that there is sort of an area where it lulls a little bit because the film starts off and just weird stuff's happening. And there was one point where I was just like, are you going somewhere with this? Like, get to the plot. Is there a plot? And eventually they did get there, but I wish they had gotten there a little faster because there is a lull about 20 minutes in maybe when the novelty of all this stuff wears off a bit. But yeah, otherwise, this is one of my favorite movies of Fantasia so far, I think.
Probably one of the best I've seen so far as well.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a fan of Rubber and you want to see something a little bit better, I would say definitely go for this. If you haven't seen Rubber, it's okay. You don't need to. But Wrong, you definitely do need to see. This is a good one.
That's our review.
Why?
Am I wrong?